Yo guys, how's it going? Welcome back to episode 9 of the On the Rise podcast. It is me, your host Gustav, and today we're going to be talking about EDM in Asia specifically, but not just in China. I just want to talk about kind of my opinion on what is going to be happening in the future with EDM and Asia and how it's all really kind of starting to grow there, and hopefully it goes in like the second wave of kind of like an EDM burst bubble thing. But yeah, before I start, if you guys don't know, this is the On Their Ass podcast, and I basically talk to different bedroom producers and upcoming rising stars that make electronic dance music, or DJs, producers, and I talk to them and we talk about their story, any tips that they have, and some cool stories that they've had with like hanging out or cool, gig stories and stuff like that. But yeah, so basically for the past couple of years, I've been really keeping up with EDM in like Asia and a lot of like places surrounding Asia, like Dubai and stuff like that. But recently, like some of the festivals that have just been like popping off, because it is the summer, it's like festival season, and specifically in China, like they have gone like absolutely, like they've quadrupled in size since a couple years ago. And one that was recently just that just passed, I think it was called Storm Music Festival, sponsored by Budweiser. There was like 25,000 people, which probably doesn't sound like a lot when like there's festivals like Tomorrowland and all those kinds, but this is like probably one of like 100 festivals that happens in Asia in the past like couple years during the summer and during the year. But I really wanted to kind of share my opinion on what I hope is going to be the future and what I think, and like what I found recently by like looking at just like hundreds of posts and talking to different producers and DJs and industry people about like what they think the future of EDM is in Asia, and how it's basically going to be a second wave, and it's going to be comparable to what Big Room was. If you guys remember Big Room, the Big Room kind of boom was basically when just Big Room took over, and it gave a lot of rise to artists like Martin Garrix, so many others, Afrojack, like literally all the top 100 DJs. You could pretty much like say that their success was due to like Big Room being such a popular genre in North America. And I feel like the Big Room kind of rise in North America is going to be the equivalent to what's going to happen in Asia with just dance music in general. But in Asia, it's just going to be on a much bigger scale, I feel like, because all the cities are growing, like the economy's growing there, and they have a huge population, and everyone seems to have more disposable income. So what that means, I just recently learned, is that like people are making more money and having more like left over in their pocket after paying for like living expenses and food and all that kind of stuff. So they have money to spend on things, and a lot of these people have enough money to go to festivals and stuff like that, and clubs. And the numbers are rising. The numbers are rising. Like one for Storm Music Festival, the organizer, I'm here reading on like a website, the organizer claimed to have attracted 180,000 fans to their festivals last year, and they had 4 of them. So 180,000 for 4 festivals is massive. Like, it's not even that popular. And the thing is in China, it's really interesting that I think Facebook and SoundCloud is banned in China. So like you just can't access it because they have like I think a partly communist government, which doesn't let them. So a lot of their music has to be shared through like other chat, like WeChat, I know is a popular one for just sharing music. And there's been like I've read like some EDM producers that are living in China and producing in China. They are using these like platforms to basically just spread like, to just send out text messages to different groups and stuff, and like make them spread through like a WhatsApp kind of like service, which is kind of like, which is different from what people usually do here in like North America and Europe, which is just post it on SoundCloud or post it to a label or something like that. But these guys are like sharing it through like chat rooms and stuff like that, and that's how they're getting like a lot of popularity. One of these guys, Chase, he signed to Barong Records, which is, if I'm not mistaken, it's Whatsonauts label or Yellow Claw's label. I think it's Yellow Claw's label. Barong family, I think. Anyways, but yeah, like they've been sharing their music through that way, and Facebook and SoundCloud are blocked on the in China mostly. So they have like they have an even harder way to share dance music, but it's still growing at such like an exponential level. And I feel like in the next couple of years, they're just gonna have like different platforms that are gonna be just like SoundCloud, but are just not gonna be called SoundCloud. And somehow they're gonna get around that ban to these websites, and they're gonna have a platform like SoundCloud that's gonna be exactly like the same with a different name, and they're going to be able to kind of grow from there and really hook more people to the music. I've read a lot of like interviews and watched a lot of videos with a lot of DJs and producers talking about what dance music is going to be like in China, and one of them was Laid Back Luke, where he was basically saying like, here if I can pull it up real quick, but he basically said it's an exciting time. The enthusiasm for DJs and this kind of music is something really new. In Europe, it's been going on for a long time, and it almost feels like we've seen it all and done it all, whereas in China, it's really something new. That was from Laid Back Luke in like a recent interview. But yeah, I totally agree with him, and from what I've seen, like the growth is absolutely massive. Like for some of you that don't know, Creamfields, a music festival in the UK, is actually hosting a festival in Hong Kong. Ultra Music Festival, which has its like main big festival in Miami. There's gonna be a bunch of more festivals like that. They already have one in South Korea. They have one in Japan. I think they have one in Thailand and Jakarta, I think. I'm not really sure, but they have so many growing there, and also like Tomorrowland festivals, those are growing. I think the name of the festival is Road to Tomorrowland. Those are the ones that are growing, but yeah, like so many different festivals are just spreading out to Asia, mainly focusing in Asia. And it's not only limited to festivals. Like I found that a lot of clubs are also growing. Like they have these things called mega clubs, basically, where it's just like it's multiple floors of like a club, where it's not just like some underground suite that like a lot of places in like North America have, where it's just like a kind of like underground basement room where they turn into like a club, but it's actually like an entire building dedicated. It looks like a 4-story building with just LED screens that just plastering the entire place. And I've heard like the sound systems there are in these mega clubs are comparable to like festivals. So they have like festival equipment and decked out mega clubs popping off like everywhere in Asia. And specifically they have like these places that are kind of like Las Vegas, where it's just like a hub for gambling and nightclubs and stuff. I think one of them is called Macau. It's in China, and it's gaining so much wealth and just popularity, and a lot of the mega clubs are like opening up there. I know in Dubai also, even though it's like not technically part of like Asia, in Dubai, like they have like this like island that was built by some of the people that are like really rich there, and they built like this kind of like umbrella-ish island. Kind of looks like a rib cage. I think most of you have seen it on like Google Maps and stuff. But that was like made by them. I think it's just for houses, but they're making a separate one just for nightclubs. So it's going to be kind of like Ibiza, but like the Dubai version of that, which you guys can probably imagine is going to be like absolutely just nuts. And I can't really like I can't wait to see how that turns out. But what I've also seen is like for DJs like Martin Garrix and stuff like that, for the past couple of years, on the biggest days of the year, like New Year's Eve and stuff like that, they haven't been playing in Europe and stuff like that. Like for specifically for Martin Garrix, he's been closing out Jakarta, I think, and then some other festivals in like Thailand. I think he closed out Dubai. Yeah, like all of these big name DJs are getting booked ahead of time, like years in advance, for the like New Year's Eve parties in different countries, like in Asia and not in like North America and stuff like that, which is pretty interesting. I feel like there's gonna be a lot more like Coachella style festivals popping up in Asia and stuff like that, which is gonna be super interesting. Like it's still very popular in North America, but I feel like it's like pure EDM dance music is gonna be bigger in Asia, when like rap, hip hop and pop kind of music is gonna be more prominent in like North America. I don't know for Europe, but that's kind of like my opinion for what's gonna happen. And also, an interesting thing that I found is for record labels and just kind of music promotion channels, like for example, Monster Cat, Trap Nation, Trap City, Proximity. That's just to like name a few, but all these have started to see a recent growth again in their numbers, because of course in like I think pre-Big Room in like 2012, 2013, like at the time when like Skrillex was super popular, like Bangarang was released, deadmau5 was super popular. That was like the only kind of like EDM people that Tiesto was also popular. But in that time, like pre-Big Room, these record labels were gaining so much popularity. Monster Cat was becoming like really big. Trap Nation was becoming huge. All these record like promotion distribution channels were really gaining popularity, and then Big Room happened. That went crazy, and then in the recent like couple years, actually, like it started to really like slow down and plateau, even like just kind of like decrease. Like the numbers would go in like negatives, where people just wouldn't go to these music sharing platforms and listen to music on there, which is partly due to like I think like more bedroom producers and producers in general just posting their stuff without any record label, because it's like so easy for a bigger artist to just simply repost a track, and for that smaller producer to gain so much like popularity and stuff, or for someone to tweet out a track or something like that without having to go to a record label and have that record label like split the cost, have some like distribution like method and advertisements and stuff like that, which like doesn't really work nowadays, where someone can just do a simple like, retweet or post about the music, or use it in a video, or use it in a set, and for that to go like absolutely viral, which a lot of people have seen that with. There's so many. There's too many to name for producer wise that have had that happen to them. But in the recent years, actually, it's pretty interesting that specifically, like I want to talk about Monster Cat and stuff like that. Their numbers have stopped plateauing, and they've actually started to rise again. And a lot of this is due to Asia and their like new interest in dance music. And what you see is like a lot more club nights and shows popping up in Asia with like the Monster Cat name. A lot more fans that are open to the music through that, even though like if they can't access it through like SoundCloud and stuff like that, there's other websites where they can bypass it and stuff like that to like check out the music. And even with all these like restrictions on checking out like Monster Cat and all these labels that are really popular here, like people are still finding ways to go about that, even when it's like not easily accessible. So I feel like even when people are going through all these lengths to go and find this music that's popular over here that's being blocked over there, like I feel like when everything gets unblocked, it's just gonna be like super 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 crazy, like the second wave of big room stuff. I literally, like, I would say within the next 2 years, there's going to be a big change in music kind of like awareness, distribution and stuff like that in in Asia. And within the next like 5 years, it's just going to be absolutely crazy. And then for the next couple years after that, up in like for the next 5 to 10 years, that's all the festivals, clubs, everything I feel like is just going to be huge in China. And a lot of people, if they want to go to like a really crazy festival experience, or you just go clubbing for a week, they're all going to go to like Macau, Hong Kong, Korea, like Seoul, Korea, stuff like that, which that's what I kind of see in the future. But yeah, there's really interesting like articles and stuff where all these like officials, and they have these things starting to pop up, which is also a really good thing. Like we have Ultra Miami Music Week and Amsterdam Dance Event, which basically like all the best like producers and stuff like that get together and discuss like music and shows and all this kind of stuff. Like it's just like a summit. The exact same things are like starting in Shanghai in Asia, which it's becoming like more official, accepted, and stuff like that. It's just like a matter of time until the government changes the laws and stuff like that, which is another thing that I want to talk about, which I found quite interesting. For some of you that might not know, like when DJs go and perform in clubs in Asia, they have like a set of rules that they have to abide by before they play. For example, no swearing, no mentioning like the government in like when you say anything, no like bad mouthing like the culture, do not like do certain hand gestures. I think there's like no middle fingers to the crowd, stuff like that. It's really interesting, and there's been some like horror stories of DJs actually getting arrested and like kicked out of the club because they've like accidentally like didn't read or didn't pay attention and just did something, or like completely forgot and did something accidentally, or they've played past like a certain curfew where I think it's like past like 1 a.m. or 3 a.m. something like that, and they've played like a couple minutes past, the cops get called, the cops bust in, like kick them out, stuff like that, and then they get banned or thrown into jail and stuff like that. So it's really strict, but the laws are really softening up. And it's interesting because it's something that the economy there needs, like for more disposable income, I guess, and to just grow their countries. Like they need more international people coming and playing shows so that like the locals there can go and spend their money on that. And yeah, I mean like when they realize that, I feel like the laws are going to change again, and like all this stuff is going to just rapidly change. And it's not, I wouldn't say it's desperation, but it's just like the laws haven't had like a real big thought about them. Like for example, Ultra Miami is played basically in the heart of the city, downtown, where there's people like living in residences and stuff, and it's like an all-day music festival with like loud music bumping and stuff, which doesn't happen a lot of the times. Music festivals are only allowed to be held like far away in like a field somewhere where there's no people that they can disturb and stuff like that. But it's actually like the complete opposite in Asia, which is super hilarious. They have music festivals that are in the heart of downtown. They just block off like a huge street, set up a stage in the middle of the street, and the entire like street gets blocked off, and people are just like, there's like a strip that's like, I guess the main city center road is just a music festival, and there's skyscrapers on every corner of the building. Like it's absolutely nuts, like the things that are happening over there, which, you know, is a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. but it's super interesting, and I really looking forward to what's gonna happen in the next couple of years with this whole thing. But I want to hear your guys' opinion on what you guys think, if it's gonna be like another big like explosion of dance music like there was with Big Room, or if you guys think if it's just gonna be like some kind of passing by thing where it's not gonna last for long. And what you guys think about like producers in general, like focusing more on the Asian market to get their attention instead of like just I guess like not pleasing, but like making music that appeals to more like the North American crowd. Yeah, I definitely want to hear your guys' opinion, so let me know on like in the comments down below or on social media. You guys can follow me on Instagram. It's at It's Me Gustav. Sauce me a follow over there and just send me a message, and I'll try to respond to you guys. Follow me on Facebook, SoundCloud, hit that follow button. But yeah, I definitely want to hear your guys' opinions. Stay tuned for the next episode. I have some awesome producers lined up. I'm super excited to have them, and I'm super excited to share their stories. So yeah, hopefully you guys like this episode. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you next week. Peace.